It's the Last Stand Podcast. And here's your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. Welcome to the Last Stand, where we bring you the unfiltered, straight talk from some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. And today's guest, well, he is a mixture of both. He is a rapper, an actor, producer, author, entrepreneur. Quite frankly, he is one of hip-hop's GOATs. He's none other than LL Cool J. LL, welcome to the Last Stand.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it, man. Much love. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you on. And listen, let's get right to you, because in this climate of COVID, where even the president and the first lady can come down with it, what has life been like for you these days?
Well, I mean, look, let's call it straight, right? Like, I'm not Bill Gates, but I live a better life than a lot of people. So it's been fine for me. My bubble isn't that bad. Obviously anybody can catch it. But, I just think about the people that are living in the projects. I think about people that are living like, even in my neighborhood in Queens, like, recently they had a renaming ceremony for Reverend Flake, and they changed Merrick Boulevard to Floyd H. Flake Boulevard. And it's like, I just see all the people out there, and it just makes me, concerned. They had masks on and everything, but it just makes me concerned for just everyday people that, people on the front lines, people that have to get out there, they have to do certain things. They gotta, pack those groceries, or they gotta come in contact those EMTs that have to. So, it's been fine for me, man. Like, I'm very grateful. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel invincible by no means, but, I just think we all just gotta, move wisely in this time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, this country seems like it's been embroiled in social unrest, because of a lot of things from the leadership at top with the president. The Black Lives Matter movement has certainly moved to the forefront. And, hip hop has always been right there in an important role with it. Go back to Public Enemy. You can go back to Ice Cube, NWA. What do you think? What do you believe is hip hop's role in the movement now?
I think we got to keep telling the truth, and we got to keep, representing the people. And keep speaking that truth to power, and that truth to indifference, because, speaking truth to power is not necessarily the only answer. You also have to you got to convert indifference. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of indifference out there. A lot of people just can't relate to the idea of racism because it just ain't in there. They've never experienced it, and it just doesn't seem like a realistic thing. I guess it's kind of like, like the way guys aren't afraid to like walk in dark parking lots at night. Like, I've never felt uncomfortable in that. You know what I'm saying? But, a woman may feel differently about that, right? So, like, I think that hip hop's place in this whole situation is on everybody's place as human beings is to come from a true place. For me, I've been, my thinking is don't demonize any particular group of people. Like, it's not about all white people or all this group being bad. It's about right side of history and the wrong side of history. And you got some people that are just literally on the wrong side of history. And it's ideological warfare. It's like, the Confederacy and the Union all over again. It's like Reconstruction or deconstruction, depending on how you want to look at it. And, I think that hip hop's place in all of that is to speak the truth. That's why I did the freestyle, the Black Lives Matter freestyle. That's why I've done the things that's why I've been speaking out about, things that are going on. But I think the key in this whole thing, though, is to truly judge people by the content of their character for real, and not just say you're black or you're white, and that means, so therefore you represent X. You know what I'm saying? I think, that's the key, to me.
You hit right on my next question, because you did drop that freestyle this summer, and that thing just exploded. I mean, it went viral. And was it the death of George Floyd? Was it Breonna Taylor? Was it Jacob Blake? Was it one incident where you just said, okay, enough is enough, that made you want to drop it?
Well, I think it's kind of like, you fill up a glass long enough, it's going to overflow, right? It's like you leave your tub running if you have a tub. Some people got tubs in their house, some just showers, but if you have a tub, you leave it running, or a sink and it's stopped up, you leave it running, at a certain point, it's going to overflow. That was what it was. It was just, it's just absolute wrong, absolute evil that we're talking about. And, I just feel like what we're talking about, we have the moral high ground. Like there's no ambiguity in what happened to George Floyd. There's no ambiguity in this situation. You have people that like to pretend and flip it on its head for their own purposes and spin it into something else. But, the spin is about power. The spin is not about reality. When the people are doing the spinning, that's about power, maintaining a certain status quo, a certain structure, and et cetera. That has nothing to do with reality. Well, it has nothing to do with the truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth is that, America would be a lot better off as a country if all the people collectively could work together. You know what I'm saying? As a team, as citizens of a nation, and not, but when you have a small group of people who just want to they want to get the best sandbox and then they only want to be allowed in it. It's like, okay, so everybody else got to stand outside the playground with their faces on the gate. That's just not just, you know what I'm saying? And this idea that, somehow how are you going to be mad at me because your ancestors were unable to keep my ancestors in slavery? And so that hatred and that resentment has been passed down because you feel your way of life was disrupted by my ancestors because they took up arms in the North and helped to free themselves and liberate themselves along with the Union. Like, it's absurd. You can't have free labor. Get over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this idea of putting people in prison to make them slaves and all, I just think it is a lot of, and this is not everybody. Remember, this is a certain group. This is not everyone, but there's a certain group who really see it that way. And, I just think people it's just very important that we become more self-aware. And it's very important that we know more about our own history. We know more about ourselves. And at the same time, learn more about each other. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of little things that, there's a lot of fear that unnecessary fear that's circulating throughout, the American society.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And listen, there's all of a sudden now been this really big push to get people out to vote. I know you've been out there pushing that, getting people to vote. But there've been a lot of influential Black folk who have come out and said, "Listen, we want Trump out of the White House, but yet don't automatically give your vote to Joe Biden and the Democratic Party." What have they specifically said that they're going to do for Black folks? So let's not automatically give them the vote. Ice Cube was one of them who came out and said that. So what's your view on this? Because I'm like, yeah, I want people to vote, but I kind of question when people say, well, don't automatically give your vote to Joe Biden and the Democrats. I'm like, well, who are you going to vote for?
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. They don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? The reality is you do need to vote, but in reality, all bets are off until you vote. So, it's like, okay, we can play chicken. I mean, people could, the Democratic Party could choose to treat Blacks like they have them in check, on a chessboard. That probably wouldn't end well. It's you know what I mean? Because life isn't like chess, because chess has a lot of rules, and in life people do what they want. Kings move 5 spaces, queens leap off the board, horses just stay on the ground and never jump, so you can't really play chess in this position. I understand what Cube is saying, and I understand his concerns for real. That's my man, and I understand his concerns, and I think that there's value and validity in the idea of saying to people, hey, how are you going to address some of the concerns in our community? I think there's validity in that. at the same time, I don't think that we should be taken for granted either, right? Like, it's a prime example. It's like sports, right? I want to play for you. And right, I'm an athlete. I want to play for your team. And, all signs are pointing towards me playing for your team. Well, you still got to do a good deal. All right? Like, we still got to do a good deal. Even though we both know that we want to play together, we got to do a good deal because it could go left.
Right.
And you don't want that, right? So I think that what he's saying basically is, hey, don't take us for granted. Let's be smart and intelligent about how we approach the fact that, we're probably going to vote in that direction. But still, what's what? Like, we got to talk. So I don't really think they're mutually exclusive. I think that people probably a little more fearful than they need to be. I think that, when voting day comes, you'll be able to get in there and vote. So, but until then, let's have a conversation about what it's going to be, right? Because look, I mean, history has proven that parties switch back and forth, and their policies and platforms change back and forth and back and forth. One party that meant one thing 100 years ago means another thing today, and one that meant one thing 300, 200 years ago means another thing 50 years from then. And so we can't just be taken for granted. Like me, I'm an independent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm an independent. I'm gonna vote for who I want to vote for. You know what I'm saying? But I also vote with my people in mind. And when I say my people, I'm talking about people on the right side of history. It's not about only black or white. It's about who's on the right side of history. You could be black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, or original American, Native American. You can be Indian from India. You know what I mean? It's not about that with me only. I love my people. I'm a black man, but I believe in what's going to be the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
There it is.
Great point. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your music.
Yeah.
First question. How does James Todd Smith come up with Ladies Love Cool James?
I mean, wishful thinking. You're 16 years old, like, damn, I want the ladies to love me. I'm going to name myself that shit. You know what I mean? That's wishful thinking. Be like, just, name it and claim it, that type of thing. I just wanted to, I was just trying to, just wanted to be the man. That's all, and, you're a little kid in Queens. I'm in the hood, and it just,
That is brilliant. I mean, did you have like 5 names and then this one stood out?
I had many names growing up. Like, okay, I was MC Deluxe at one point, which is hilarious. And then I was J Ski, but I felt like everybody's last name was Ski. And then in between there, I was Lord Supreme for a minute. But then ultimately, I changed my name to Cool J, and I went through every rhyme book and changed it to Cool J. And then one day, I tacked on the Ladies Love, to the Cool J. And then when I got with Rick Rubin, when I got with Def Jam, it was like, just make it LL so it can fit on the label, and we can, just make it LL.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you brought that up. So I think it's 84.
Yeah.
You become the first artist basically signed to this record label that's struggling that we all know now. That's Def Jam.
Well, it wasn't even struggling. There was no label, right? Like it was it was a production company. Tila Rock had Rick Rubin had produced a song by Tila Rock called It's Yours. It's Yours was on the Party Time record label. It was Def Jam Productions. And they were having the damnedest time getting their money from Party Time. You know what I mean? So when I came around, Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys heard my demo. He gave it to Rick. They liked it. And, one thing led to another. And I was actually the first artist on the label. And then I put the first album out on the label. And I was like the flagship artist. And, it went from there.
What were those days like for you? Because here's the thing I liked about you. First of all, in those days, rappers had to be hard. You had to be hardcore. And yet here you go, you nice caramel brown type brother, licking them lips. You was into lifting and good looking type dude. And yet everyone wanted their rappers to be hardcore. What were those days like for you in the early days of LL?
You know what? I just straight up, I just always had the courage to be myself, man. Like I've always been myself. So if I want to make a hard record like I'm Bad or Rock the Bells, I do that. If I want to make a romantic record like I Need Love or A Roundaway Girl, I do that. Like I've just always not been afraid. I've never been afraid to just do what I wanted artistically. And, sometimes it gets you in trouble, because there's a certain macho code that comes with hip hop. But I always accepted those challenges, on the battle side, you know what I'm saying? But when it came to my music and what I made what I wanted to make, it's kind of like sports, right? Sports, the difference between sports and hip hop, one of the most interesting parts is that hip hop, music and arts and entertainment is very subjective, right? So even how they score it is subjective. Like you could get a bunch of Grammys or no Grammys, all of that is subjective. It's all votes. It's like the all-star votes, right? Like we know LeBron is amazing, but it's the all-star votes. Nothing wrong with Giannis. We love him too. But I'm just saying it's subjective. So what happens is, the way things work, you kind of like, if you choose to not follow the rules, it's just a different game for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like the best metaphor would be you go behind a curtain and you make noises like you dunked, and then you come back out, and that people either believe you dunked or they don't. Right? You know what I'm saying? That's how hip hop is. So when I make, if it was sports and it was I Need Love, but I was still, 46-0 and people getting knocked out, they can't say nothing, right? But in hip hop, they can, you know what I mean? It's like your record is subjective in hip hop. It's a little different. Even though you can get critiqued in sports and criticized in sports, your record, it's just a little different in that regard. You know what I'm saying? The win-loss column is a little different.
Did you take that? How did that criticism, even though you were putting out bangers?
Yeah.
How did you take that criticism?
Oh, it just makes me want to it just motivates me to do more. I take all that, honestly, take all that shit personal. And it just motivates me to want to be better. To this day. You know what I'm saying? Like I notice everything. These guys, they talking slick and saying little things. I notice all that. You know what I'm saying? All of it.
Do you believe and some people may think I'm reaching, but you put out a record like I Need Love. Do you consider yourself almost like a pioneer for guys like, let's say, Drake, who now make hip hop and singing? They blend the two. I mean, you were like the original.
Well, I mean, look, obviously, we all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, right? I stand on the shoulders of people who came before me. Artists now stand on my shoulders. I mean, it just is what it is, right? So it's not reaching at all. The thing is, I can't take credit for all the hip hop, but I know that, if you remove me from the scenario, it would be a big dent. That I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you remove me from the hip hop, it would definitely be a big hole. You know what I'm
absolutely.
There may be some bigger holes out there, but this would be a big one. So, I'm not, look, I don't trip. I'm just staying inspired. I think it was Charles Brinkley who said, when they throw bricks at you, build a foundation. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do. You know what I mean?
I almost find it hard to believe, El, is that I think it was last month you celebrated the 30-year anniversary of Mama Said Knock You Out.
Mama Said Knock You Out.
I mean, to me, especially for me and being at Hampton University, that was like our go-to album. Every morning we had that album on.
Yeah, that was
from Booming System, everybody driving around the yard, rolling down with their cars and having that exactly. And we would all say, "Look, I'm fronting. I don't care if you know."
Yeah. It's an amazing feeling, man.
So first of all, tell me about the song Mama Said Knock You Out. How'd that come about in the entire album?
Well, the song came about because, I was coming off the album Walking with a Panther. I had done a remix for Jingling Baby, which was doing well, but the Walking with a Panther album kind of was critically panned because, people felt like, me having the diamonds and the champagne and the models on the cover and all that, that was before people saw that. Like, that was before people were doing that in hip hop, right? So,
right.
Well, I was doing something that people hadn't seen, and it was also at the height of, like, PE and X-Clan and, like, and I was over here just like on a hustler vibe, like with the champagne floating, and they was just like, yo, this dude don't care about nobody, right? But it wasn't that. I was just celebrating the fact that we had achieved the level. And so, Mama Said Knock You Out came out of that, and that frustration that people didn't receive the last album, the prior album, well. So when my my grandmother I was talking to her, she said, yeah, well, just get out there and knock them out, because I was kind of commiserating with her. And then, just went, we was in there, just went in. My man, had put the floppy disk, Bobcat put the floppy disk in the SP12, and I'm just running around the condo, just like, oh, call it a, you know what I mean? Just went crazy. And just, the rest is history, and it's grown over the years. You know what I'm saying? The song has grown in popularity and grown in reach over the years, because early on, like, the radio stations didn't play that record like that. You know what I'm saying? MTV played a little bit, but not so much. You know what I'm saying? And it got treated like a black record. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it got treated like black music. It never went pop. It never, it didn't play on mainstream stations. None of that. Now all of a sudden, because the gatekeepers, we've been able to end around the gatekeepers, its popularity has grown. You know what I'm saying? And I'm real thankful for that. I'm glad, the cream rises, right? So that's a good one. The album in general was me and Marley. You know what I'm saying? Marley would have the incense burning. And, the weed smoke was in the air, the incense, we in there, you know what I'm saying? We riding, we go down to 7-Eleven, get us some bottles of James wine coolers, go back to the studio. You know what I'm saying? I'm digging through the crates. Yo, flip this sample. We going through stuff. It was just a good time. We just had a good time.
Great album. And so when you do this album and Mama Said Knock You Out, you obviously had that kind of boxing theme to it too, because you had the robe and the mic and this and that. Were you into boxing at that time?
Listen, I if you go back, like my second album cover, 1987, you look at Big and Def, I'm on the back hitting a heavy bag. Like, yes. I've always loved boxing. I've always been a fan of boxing. Came to find out years later, my uncle was, John Henry Lewis. He was the first light heavyweight African-American boxer in America. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather, Nathaniel Christie, was a boxer. You know what I'm saying? All of my uncles was boxers. And, I didn't find that out till later, but, through Skip Gates, at Harvard. And so, when he did my DNA and all that. So, and they all from they were in Ohio and Arizona, and then they ended up in Oakland. But I love boxing. It just came natural. It was always, important to me. It was always like, that's my favorite sport. Like, everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is my favorite sport. And then after boxing, it would be combat sports, right? Okay. But it goes boxing first. You know what I mean?
So when it comes to the sport of boxing, do you have favorite fighters? Like right now, who are LL's favorite fighters when they're on? You're like, oh, I got to watch these guys.
Well, man, I watch everybody. But in terms of favorites right now, I mean, Devin Haney is exciting. Javante is exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what Shakur is going to do. The heavyweights is crazy out right now with Joshua and Fury and Wilder. Love Deontay. You know what I'm saying? Would love to see him, kind of right that wrong, see what happened with that, which would be tough, obviously, because Fury is no joke. I think, man, there's so many boxers I love, man, so many. I mean, Mikey Garcia, to all of them. I mean, yeah. And they're my friends too. Berto, like, there's so many of them, you know what I'm saying, that I love. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did a whole, thing about Mama Said Knock You Out. If you go to rockthebells.com, we celebrated the 30th anniversary and had all of the boxers come in, Abner, like all of them, that, and they just came in. And so it's, boxing is just a very special sport to me. It's always been exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always just been one of those things, like, You know, I guess like you see the NWA with the Raiders caps and all that. You see
Yes.
with the Lakers and stuff on. Well, I'm like boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing. You know, Floyd, love Floyd. You know what I'm saying? I think he's super talented, and I love, you know, and it goes back, right? I'm talking about back to Jack Johnson, back to, you know, all the way back from Jack Johnson on up. You know what I'm saying? And even before that, to my great grandfather, Thomas Molyneux. You know what I mean? And to, you know, and fighting Thomas Cribb and all of that. And just, you know, boxing is, come on. You know,
so how does it make you feel when you see these championship fights and these big time fights and these guys are walking to the ring and they're walking to the ring to Mama Said Knock You Out? How does that make you feel?
I love it, man. I love it. But, you know, I got to be honest with you. It doesn't matter. Like, it's less important to me what a dude walks out to, and more important to me if I see it in their eyes that that's what they really feeling. Like, I loved when Mike Tyson walked out to Terror Dome by PE. I thought that was a great moment. You know what I mean? Like, I just like to see the sincerity. You know, if they're dancers, you know what I'm saying? If they're, you know, more on the dancers side, like Roy and like Prince Nassim, and if they're, you know, crazier like Camacho or Fury, or if they're, you know, stark, like, you know, like Mike and like, you know, some of the dudes that walk out a little bit more focused, you know what I'm saying? And I tell you, like, you know, you look at Crawford, you look at Errol Spence. I mean, obviously that's an interesting situation there. You know, I just, you know, it just always feels good to see these warriors go all out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just like to see warriors go all out, man, and be smart too.
Yes. Listen, I think we're all waiting for that day for one of those huge, big time fights, and then they bring you are the guy walking them out, singing "Mama Said Knock You Out." I think that arena would just go bonkers. That we got to work on that one. I got to start talking to some of these guys about that. So they got to, you know, once we get past this COVID thing, they got to bring you out. That would be crazy. Let's talk about music now. What does LL Cool J think about the state of hip hop now? Do you like the music now?
Yeah, I like a lot of the music. You know, I like a lot of the music. There's a lot of artists doing a lot of interesting things, like that Lil Baby song. I think it's called "The Moment of Truth." I might have messed the title up a little, but you saw my you know, the protests and whatever. Yeah. That's great. I think the Baby is super talented. You know, I like a lot of the music out there. There's a lot of great artists. I think, you know, you got Royce 5'9", you know, great lyricist. You got Lupe, you know, great lyricist. You got Yellow Pain, who did that record about voting, which I thought, you know, Young Kid, which was super slick. You know, like I've never been one to not embrace the newness. You know what I'm saying? But I also at the same time believe that there's room for classic and timeless hip hop too, right? Mm-hmm. So I have Rock the Bells Radio on Sirius XM, channel 43, and it's dedicated to classic and timeless hip hop so that people don't forget the roots of the culture and can actually learn about the culture and enjoy it in a way that's cool, in a way that's not bitter, and in a way that's presented to them so that they can really enjoy themselves. So if you go to, you know, download the app and you listen to Rock the Bells Radio, and then you go to rockthebells.com and you can see like all of the clothes we have and the Jordans and the sneakers and the, you know, the books. We got books on there. Like if you like hustling, if you about making your dreams come true, we got like, I mean, rockthebells.com is dope, and it's all curated for people who love classic hip hop, but at the same time, people who aren't as familiar with the core, hardcore center of it still can like vibe to it and rock with it. You know what I'm saying? So I always embrace what's going on. I always pay attention. Like my new album right now that I'm working on, you know, me and Q-Tip is working on an album, and it's very innovative. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, it's going to be really fun for my day one fans. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be really fun for people who, you know, wonder what a classic artist can do now. You know what I'm saying? Especially because there's been so much time has gone by since I've done music, that it's going to be interesting to like present this to people. I think they're going to be amused, you know what I'm saying? Surprised because it's hard to envision it, because all you can think about is where I came from, but you can't see where I'm going. You know what I mean? It's like a new model of the car. It's like a new model car.
And when we gonna get it?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. Oh yeah, but I'm deep in it though. I'm really working on it. Like and you'll see, like it's gonna be fun. Like it's gonna move some things. Like people going it's gonna be funny, man. We talking some shit too. It's gonna be fun. Talk.
You obviously you won a couple of Grammys. By the way, what did you think about Kanye? Did you see Kanye urinating on the Grammys? What did you think about that?
I said that the other day. Somebody had just asked me off the cuff, and I just like me because I hosted the Grammys, for 5 years, and I co-produced like 10 Grammy specials. It's like they're not perfect and everything, but it's like, come on, dog. Like, what are you doing? Like, they're definitely not perfect in any way. But I just didn't really appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I made the comment I made, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get it. You know what I mean? It's just like, should I piss on a teddy bear? Like, like, what are we doing? Like, come on, B. Like, why are you doing that? Like, just stop it, man. So that's why I made a comment, but it's all love, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, come on, B. Like, I hosted them Grammys for 5 years, like, good or bad, right or wrong, like it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, man. Like,
I always wanted to ask you this because when I heard and I read the statement, I was like, oh, I wonder why he came like that. I remember when Jay-Z did this interview with Rolling Stone, and he mentioned you specifically. He said, we've seen people like LL, legends that we respect, the heritage and what he's done, but it's not like right now he's competing on the same level as Lil Wayne. So for me to still be able to compete at that level at my age, it's rarefied air. It's never been done, end quote.
Okay.
How did you take that when you heard that Jay-Z made that comment recently to Rolling Stone?
Well, I think I guess I just got to drop another album, huh? I guess it is what it is, right? I mean, like if you don't have an album in the marketplace that's competing, I guess he's right. But the fact that you're the example, that tells you a lot, right? That tells you you're a pillar. When people have to use, you have the guys that right there is an admission of greatness, right? Like, who to use as your example, right? So what do that tell you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the Obamas, you know what I mean? Like, the LLs, you have the Michael Jordans and the LeBrons, shit, Michael Jordan ain't competing right now. What do that mean? Right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means. Like, it is what it is, right? Like, Michael Jordan ain't competing right now. It doesn't take away from his greatness. So what? Yeah. What? Okay. Okay.
Great point. I remember too when I was a sports anchor in Dallas, and it was in the 90s. You guys shot Any Given Sunday at Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
I remember that those days. Yeah. And obviously there's I remember that big story that came out that you guys, that scene with you and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, I guess the question is, was it really true that you knocked him out? Because the story was you knocked him out cold.
First of all, let me qualify it. Every guy that you've named, I got love for them all. Okay, let's just be clear about that. Like, it's all love and it's all just friendly competition, right? Like, I have no beef with nobody, like, as a human being. Like, I'm not gonna, if I see a guy, if he's thirsty, I'll give him a bottle of Perrier, all right? Like, it's not a problem.
Right.
So let me just say that.
Yeah.
But in terms of, Jamie, Jamie just, he didn't like my method acting and decided that, he could punch me in my face. And, I disagreed. And that just, I'm just going to leave it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just totally disagree. What's the word? Vehemently? How do you say it?
I vehemently disagreed.
I vehemently, or whatever that shit is, whatever that word is right there, vehemently or whatever. I vehemently disagreed or some shit. You know what I mean? But, it's all good, man. Blame it on alcohol, man.
Oh my gosh!
I love for Jamie, man. We had fun. We had fun making that movie.
Yeah.
It's all been a nice journey for me. Like, whether it's guys talking about me in the media, whether it's me making comments, because at the end of the day, it's just friendly competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it is what it is. B.
Here's my question to you. Why did I never have seen like a LL lip balm or like a LL chapstick line, bro? As much as you gave them?
The real reason is I just was a little kid and wasn't that savvy. I just wasn't that savvy. Like, I don't know. I just lick my lips when I'm a little anxious or something and wasn't really pursuing that like that. And then the flip side of it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest, man. Like, I used a product, but it wasn't like they was looking for a black man to throw some lip balm on. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real, right? Like, this has happened many, many times, right? Like, underwear, like there's a million endorsements that you could look at LL Cool J. All I want you to do right now is just give you a glimpse. And this is not from a space of bitterness at all. Like, it's all love, and I'm very grateful. But just to kind of put things in a little, imagine if LL Cool J was a white boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I rest my case.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? What's the old boy, Marky Mark? He had underwear line, all kinds of stuff. I mean, you were our guy. I mean, you were ripped. You were all in, from jogging suits, the Kangos, the chapstick, the whole thing. All
love. But it just happened. So, but look, at the end of the day, here's the thing: you have to, our ancestors dealt with way more than a LL could ever think of complaining about, all right? I'm complaining about, what, an endorsement? My ancestors couldn't sit in restaurants.
Yeah.
And then before that, like, they couldn't, like, walk down the street without being called, what is it, vagrant laws? Vagrancy, what's that word? They couldn't stand around. They had to, like, sign a piece of paper and say they worked for somebody, or they couldn't stand around.
Right. Yeah, they get arrested for loitering.
Yeah, loitering, vagrancy laws, and all of that. So
yeah,
I can't complain but so much, as a black man in America. I know I've done well, but what I would say is to people is that don't look at me as the rule. Understand that I'm the exception. Because there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that are hurting, a lot of people that are going through it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are dealing with a lot. So I can't beef with so much, man. Like, yeah, there was probably a couple of, some low-hanging fruit that I didn't grab, along the way, but I did okay. You know what I mean? I did okay.
Certainly did. I think a member of your family who's certainly been an inspiration is your wife. So yeah. I wanted to kind of talk about Simone, because in 2004, she gets diagnosed with bone cancer.
Yeah.
How did that affect you, obviously, personally? How did it affect the family?
Oh man, it's just like one of those things where, it was luckily it was in one specific point on her tibia, and it had negative edges. So they were able to go in and get it. It's great doctor, Dr. Athanasian. But, man, I tell you, it's scary. You just, you have a young woman, who's, in the prime of her life, and, all of a sudden she finds out this devastating news, and it changes everything. These are things you have to think about, so it taught me not to take things for granted. It taught me how to, to prioritize. It was funny too. A lot of things happened. Like, that was the time when I dropped the album Definition, and with the song Headsprung. But then people, if you'll notice, the album kind of totally went away after that. And it was because I didn't promote it, because I was in the hospital just staying there every day. Right. So when that project came out, I did zero promotion for it. You know what I mean? And it really hurt that project, and a lot of things musically, it just changed the trajectory of things for me. But I felt like it was important for me to, to just be there and be solid. You know what I'm saying? And just be solid. And God is great, and I just wanted to be solid. So, she's always, been solid, and I just wanted to be solid in that moment. And you have to believe in God, believe in the power of healing, have faith. And you know, I'm just grateful that she was able to overcome it. And then she started, you know, Simone Smith Jewelry. And
Yes.
you know, a portion of all the proceeds go to the American Cancer Society, which was like a beautiful thing that came out of that pain. She was like, I want to do earrings. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You know, now we making jewelry. It's one thing that, I'll take you to Jamaica Avenue to get some earrings. Now I'm making jewelry. Like, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Little different. You know what I'm saying? But so we made jewelry, and I'm just happy, you know, her business is doing well, and we're able to donate to the American Cancer Society and work towards a cure. And, God is great, man. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic. You want to talk about an inspiration, a survivor, but then to take that and to start a successful jewelry line, that's amazing. That's
why
amazing.
when people, the support that people give it, you know, you see a lot of the actresses, you know, like, you see Mary in the new Power book, you know, shout out to 50. I'm excited about what he's doing in TV. You know, you see Mary on there rocking, you know, different people. It's like, it's an amazing thing. You know what I'm saying? To just see the support that she gets. So I'm just grateful that, you know, that people are embracing it the way they are. And it's great. Yeah.
You talked about this too, but, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, you start Rock the Bells Radio there on Sirius XM. And as you talk about, it's for classic hip hop. What was it a day you were just sitting around and you were listening saying, I think we need a channel for classic hip hop or something that's for the culture? How did that come about?
Well, they had a channel. They had Backspin Radio, but I just felt like it could be better. I just felt like I could do it better. And so I worked on it. I called Scott Greenstein for 5 years. You know, we kind of flirted and talked about the idea and went back and forth. And I finally, you know, got him to give me the channel. And when I got that channel, I stripped it all the way down. You know what I'm saying? I took out everything. You know, I had people on Twitter, he's ruining it. He's got to tear it apart. I had this coach. I forget what the coach's name, though. He's funny. I know he's going to see this interview. He's like, you don't mess with Michael Jordan. Like, he was trying to tell me everything I was doing wrong. But they didn't realize what I was doing was I just wanted to strip it all the way down and really build it from the ground up. And I think that we built it to a place now, and it's always going to be a work in progress, but we're at a place now where people can really – you can tune into Rock the Bells Radio and really get a full picture of what classic and timeless hip hop is like. And now, you know, we have, you know, and this will be good news, we have 3 more channels that we're going to be launching online.
Wow.
So, I got 3 more channels online that I'm launching as well. So there'll be other things that I'll be doing in the music space. We have some great on-air personalities that are about to come out that we'll be launching with soon, that people will be hearing about. That's going to be really exciting. And so I think Rock the Bells is a really important thing for the culture. And, you know, it just means a lot to me. So I'm really passionate about it. And, you know, it's not only science, there's art there. You know what I'm saying? And it's a combination, but I'm focused on it. You know what I'm saying? It's what I do. Hip-hop.
I love it. You know, I talked about you also as well as an entrepreneur. You invested. You're one of the first investors in the Big 3.
Yeah.
And with Ice Cube and at 3-on-3 professionally. Tell me why. What was it about you said, okay, I want to get on this on the ground floor?
I think Cube is a genius. I think Cube is real smart. He's somebody I have a lot of respect for. And when I saw the idea, it just, you know, intuitively, I just felt like it was right to me. It just felt like it would work, and it's going to work. It'll be fine. I think, you know, once we get past COVID and everything, the league will be back up and running. It's going to be back. You know what I'm saying? Me and Cube talk. Me and Jeff Quatnitz talk. You know, the league is going to be fine. And I just felt like it was a great idea. It was a timely idea, and it extends the careers of these ball players. We want to see them keep playing. Like I want to see these guys playing. Okay, you're in your 40s or you're maybe in your early 50s, whatever, and maybe you don't want to do 48 minutes and run up, 72 feet? You don't want to run 48 minutes, you know, but look, we're going to do this half-court thing, and we could get to see them professional skills at a high level. And I just thought it was a brilliant idea. And when he called me and he was like, yo, you want to throw something in? I was like, absolutely. So, you know, we figured it out, and I threw something in, and I tried to be as supportive as I can. But, you know, for me, the Big Three is not really like just about the money part is about me supporting my brother when he's trying to build a business. That's what the money thing. The money thing was like, I'm like, yo, I respect this guy. I believe in this guy. This guy's solid. I'm going to invest in him and try to help him, you know, do his dream, because it's his dream, right? But for me, the support was like, you know, basketball. Once we get past combat sports, right? That basketball thing is, you know, that's heart of hearts too, because, you know, I'm a sports fan. So I'm there. I'm seeing everybody I love. The game is crazy. I just loved it, and I still do. So I can't wait till they come back. Big Three comes back bigger and stronger than ever.
Fantastic. You know, one of the things that's been really popular and that all of our it seems like the culture has embraced is these versus battles.
Yeah.
Love these versus battles.
Yeah.
They become really popular. So
Yeah.
my question to you, who would have the catalog that could battle LL Cool J?
You know, I don't know, because, you know, my music is very diversified. And, you know, it's kind of like I have a diversified portfolio of music, and some people are a little more focused. So I don't know if any of them are a really good match, because I do a lot of different things. And, you know, so if a dude's just doing, you know, all street records, right? Like, I don't see that being a good balance. So it would have to be somebody who can kind of, you know, pick 20 records that is a wide selection so that we can have all the fans enjoy themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. But, you know, if Versuz want to rock the bells, they just got to, you know, pick the right person, and we can get it in. You know what I'm saying? We can get it in. You know what I mean? You know, Swiss knows I love him. You know, I love Swiss. That's my brother. I love him. You know what I'm saying? But it just got to be the right person. Got to be the right person.
LL, a number of people who watch the show, we allow them to submit questions through social media, and they came raining in for you. So we're going to get to a couple of these questions. Right. This first one comes from Vladimir from Facebook. He says, what do you remember from the beef with cannabis?
I remember winning.
That's a great answer.
I remember winning like a you know, look, you know, I had fun with the cannabis thing. I know, you know, that's one of my like my Floyd Mayweather Castillo things, you know what I mean? Like it's like a Mayweather Castillo. I got the decision with like a couple of people in the stands, he ain't get him and all that. You know. So they feel like I got some Canelo Floyd love on that. But, you know, it's all good. You know, I won. So that's how I feel about it. W. You know what I mean? I got the dub. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I got love for cannabis. For the record, though, you know, on Rock the Bells, I play all my competitors, too. I play cannabis. I play Mo D. I play, you know, Hammer. I play Ice-T. I got love. Me and Ice been squashed that. But I got love for all of them. I play all them music. So even the ones out there that think, yo, LL lost, they can still go to Rock the Bells and hear cannabis. You know what I'm saying? Right. I still play homies' music. So just you know what
I mean? This one from Twitter, Xander asks, if you and Jamie Foxx were to fight again, who would win the rematch?
Well, is he going to be a Tyson character or not? Like, which character? Is he going to be Jamie, or is he going to be Jamie playing Tyson? Oh, man. Yo, no rematch. I had a no rematch clause, man. We had a no rematch clause, B. No rematch. No rematch. I don't give rematch. Yeah, I don't give rematch.
Another one from Twitter. This one comes from Ralph. He says, if you could pick any two fighters, regardless of weight class, to fight, who would they be?
Oh, man. Good God. I mean, man.
That's a tough one.
Yo, but I got to tell you, man, I would love to see, like, Roy Jones at 28 and Floyd at 28.
Ooh, yeah.
Yo, come on, B. Like, that's a good one right there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Both of them 28 years old.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah. No, man, that would be a hell of a fight, B.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be a hell of a fight.
Absolutely.
God damn. That's
LL Cool J, we've come to the last segment of this show. We call it The Last Stand. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, LL. Okay. I want the first thing that comes to your mind.
All right, cool.
Greatest rapper
LL.
to come from Queens. Nas. 50 Cent, LL Cool J.
LL Cool J.
Your favorite LL Cool J song?
Doing It.
Ooh. Which LL song had more influence on the culture? Rock the Bells, Going Back to Cali, I Need Love, or Mama Said Knock You Out?
I would probably have to say I Need Love because it paved the way for a different style. I would say Rock the Bells was right there, though, in terms of impact, and Mama Said Knock You Out, but probably I Need Love.
Yep, I agree. I agree with you there. You're the first hip-hop artist to be honored at the Kennedy Center Honors.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you've been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 4 times and have yet to be inducted. How much does that bother you?
Not much.
To me, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, though, man. Like, you got 2 schools in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? You got 2 schools. Those people who nominate me and who do vote for me, and those who don't. So to the ones that vote for me, thank you. And to the ones who don't, I'm already famous.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm already. I'm famous. B. Like,
yeah. You're right.
Dude, I mean, I don't understand it, but they have the right to choose. Like, I can't be mad at them. Like, you know what I'm saying? And maybe they thought, like, maybe if my music was like socially, like about social awareness, it'd probably be easier for them, because for some people, they don't really understand Around the Way Girl. That doesn't have the meaning, to them. They want it all to be a legal search. Maybe they don't understand I Need Love's impact on the culture.
Right.
Or Jingling Baby, what those songs mean to people. Or the I Shot Yous and To the Break of Dawns. Maybe they don't understand all of that. Whereas they can understand some of the PE and the NWA stuff. So it's probably a lack of understanding. They just don't understand, what I mean to hip hop. But it's a rock and roll thing. So, okay, it's, you got people out there that, it's rock. So whatever,
Yeah.
So God bless them. I wish them the best.
Do you think more people know you know you more as a rapper, an actor, or a TV host?
I think it depends on who you're asking. I would say more people know me, in the mainstream world as an actor and a TV host in the mainstream world for sure. I would say, but my day one fans are, music. You know what I'm saying? And my most loyal fans are from my music. You know what I'm saying? So It's a little different. I am more famous because of a lot of those other things, but my most loyal base is music. You know what I'm saying? That's my hardcore base. They've been rocking with me since day one. So, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And just to go back to that other question about greatness, the reality is, man, like, you got to let other people say who's great. Like, right? Like, I named my album GOAT, Greatest of All Time, because that's what we're supposed to do as artists. And I would hope that any artist you name would call themselves the greatest, right? But that's why I came up with that acronym. I took Earl the GOAT, Man of GOAT, the Street Baller, who they called the GOAT, right? And I took Muhammad Ali, Greatest of All Times, right? And then I smashed them together and made GOAT, Greatest of All Times. And I put that album out in 2000. And now it's just what I'm happy about. That's probably one of the most impactful things I've done with the culture, because that has changed the entire lexicon of the world, right? Like, people want to be the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be the GOAT. And that came from my soul and my spirit and, imagination. So I'm just glad I've been able to impact the culture. You know what I'm saying? you know, but every artist has the right to say they're great, to be the greatest. Like, so I don't, what I don't want to do is ever come off like I'm demeaning like brothers from Queens or other, because I love them all. Like, I got massive respect for Nas, Fifth. Like, those are my dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, all love.
Absolutely.
You gotta believe in you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta believe in your game.
All the great ones do. You're right. You talked about this. You've had some epic rap beefs.
Yeah.
You had the Kumo D.
Yeah.
You had Cannabis.
Yeah.
You had Jay. You had Ice-T.
Not really Jay. I never really, only thing me and Jay ever did was, you know, one day I was coming out of a club and, you know, he came up to me and was rapping and rhyming. And then his man came up to me and was rapping and rhyming. And when I finished with his man, I had ran out of rhymes. And then Jay came up rapping and rhyming. And then everybody's going, ooh, but I was out of shit to say. What do you want me to do? I'm done, bro. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, so it's like, so I never really had nothing with Jay. But,
okay. Which one was more personal?
Oh, man. Nah, none of them.
None of them? Okay.
Nah, none of them.
Okay.
It was always about MCing and come like in the spirit of MCing. I've never, you know, felt like personal in any way, like some kind of vindictive. I've never felt like a mean-spirited type of thing. You know, you want to get guys, you want to talk crazy and bad, you know, rhyme and all that, but I never, in my spirit, like I never felt like nothing personal. Like, I never had problems with any of them in person. I've seen them over the years, even in the midst at the height of our rivalries, etc. Every artist you name, like, there's never been like an issue like that. Like, it's not personal because we're just having fun. At the end of the day, I want these brothers to have long lives, great careers, to be super successful, to have wonderful families. I love when I see them, you know, with their families and they're living their lives. Like, I'm happy for these brothers, you know. So that is just no different from us playing in the NBA or playing in the NFL and just playing against each other. So we may go back and forth and get nose to nose on the court or nose to nose on the field, but other than that, it's never personal. Definitely not.
Last but not least, does LL still freestyle? Do you still just drop bars off the top of your head?
Well, I don't, you know, see, people, that's so funny, right? Freestyling, when I used to freestyling is written rhymes, it's actually written rhymes.
Okay.
And then what you're talking about is going off the top of the dome, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I understand, I know what you're getting at, you know what I mean? But, I mean, not really, you know what I'm saying? But I have the capability, but it's not, but freestyling and writtens are two different things. I used to do more writtens, you know what I'm saying? I had more writtens ready. You know what I'm saying? Off the dome, yeah, I could do off the dome all day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because I was going to say, I would love for LL to give me just a quick little something and mention the Last Stand podcast. Just something off the top of the dome.
All right.
And mention the Last Stand podcast.
All right.
That's what I would love to see.
All right. Let me see. How many lines, though?
Don't even matter. I don't care if you give me 1, 2, 3. Right. That's it.
Come watch the God Blast on Last Stand podcast.
Look at you. Right. That's what I'm talking about. I like it.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
Come watch the God Blast on Last Stand podcast. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. I'm going to have to clip that one off. That's a take right there. I love it. Hey, look, he's one of the GOATs. LL Cool J, one of the baddest to ever do it. My brother, man, I appreciate this.
Appreciate you, Brian. Love you, man. One love.
Absolutely. That's what we do on The Last Stand. We bring you some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment, and none bigger than LL Cool J. Folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.